This little episode, 4 or 5 minutes, is in response to a comment. Not really so much a question, but a comment from a diver that I heard the other day, and he said, I was out diving with my buddy, and I'm looking over, and his regulator's upside down on his tank. Yeah, it's upside down. How can he breathe when it's upside down? Anyway, I kind of chuckled about it, and then I thought, you know what, there may be other people out there that are thinking about this as well. Can your rig go on upside down? Will it work? You know, the question. The point is this, it doesn't matter, within reason, it doesn't matter how you mount the regulator on the tank. Provided, of course, that the tank outlet is facing the regulator inlet and the yoke screw. As long as it's on there properly, it doesn't matter. You can put it sideways, you can put it upside down, left or right. Okay? So the answer to the question initially is, yeah, it doesn't matter. It'll work just fine. As long as high pressure air goes in through the filter into the regulator, it'll come out the mouthpiece just perfectly, no problem. But maybe the bigger question is, why would you do that? Why would you mount it upside down? Well, there's another simple question for that, answer for that as well. And this particular regulator is a perfect example. This wouldn't apply to all regulators. Some regulators come straight out and the hoses come out upside down, right side of it wouldn't matter. But with this very specific regulator, and there are several like it, it could make a big difference, okay? This happens to be a Sherwood SR1. But the same similar regulators would be like the Scuba Pro Mark 25, very, very popular regulator. Several Oceanic regulators are like this as well. Let me point out what I mean. If you take a look at the tank, Kevin, can you get in here a little bit? Kevin's on a bit of a holiday right now. I gotta push him. You look over here, here's the tank. There's the top of the valve right there. You see it there? That's the tank. And you notice that the regulator here is almost level. There's very little, anything sticking up above the valve. That's right there. There's nothing sticking up. However, if you put it on the other way, I'm not going to say the right way. I'm not even going to say upside down or right side up, because that implies there's only one way to do it. And I've just finished saying that's not the case. You can do that if you put it up the other way. Now look. Now look. Oh yeah, there's the top of the tank. And look at here. That's a good 2 inches. A good 2 inches higher. The regulator's up here with all the hoses as well. That's the clue as to why you might want to mount it differently than your buddy. Let's assume for just a moment that you're a normal person, not like Kevin. Let's assume for a moment that you are an average, 5'7" to 6 foot. Okay? This regulator will work just fine like this. Put it on put the tank, this is just a small tank, but put the tank on your back. If you need to, you can very slightly adjust the tank in the harness, if you need to, a little wee bit, and you put the hoses around and off you go. This part that sticks away up in the air is unlikely to bump your head, unless you go like this. If you go like that, you might bump your head. You know where you bump your head? In the pool. Yeah, if you're swimming in the pool, because you're usually horizontal, it's not very deep, and then you look up to the surface and you might bump your head. But if you're scuba diving, you tend to be more like this, a little bit upright, and you're not going to bump your head. But if you're taller than that, if you're over six foot, very common. So if your buddy is tall and skinny, 6'4", 6'4", and weighs 150 pounds, then he'll be coming back to the boat complaining about bumping his head all the time. And of course you can say, well, put your hood on, or don't look up and so on. There's a simpler solution. There it is. So there's the reason, a very simple reason why it might be worthwhile to put your regulator facing down, and just like that. You may have to change your hoses, right? Because if you turn it over, then your high pressure goes the wrong way and this goes the wrong way, but that's easy to do. You can do it yourself or take it to your dive shop. Take it into your local dive shop and to the service guy and say, listen, I want to turn it right and face it down, but you need to change the hoses so I have the reg on the right and the safe second on the right, and all that kind of. He may have to do that for you. Take him 5 minutes, and he probably won't charge you. He shouldn't, in my opinion, but if he does, it'll just be a couple of bucks. So there you go. Answer that question and that comment if it's ever come up. If you've been on the dive boat and your buddy says, and he has his regulator on upside down, in your opinion, don't give him a hard time. Ask him, your reg is mounted differently. Why do you do that? I guarantee you he's going to say, if I don't, I'll bump my head all the time. probably the reason. Small point, but I thought I'd share it with you. Now you're a little bit knowledgeable, maybe. Okay, take care, Alec Peirce. At Scuba 2000, by the way. Yeah.